to our next topic. So going back to our college football, a little dive here. Florida State, are they going to win the ACC this year? Are they the team to beat? When they went 10-3 last year, they finished second in the ACC Atlantic Division behind Clemson. They finished 11th in the AP poll last year. So at the end of the season, that's where they were ranked. And they did win out 6 straight games to close out the season. So I know a lot of people are probably thinking, oh, it should go to Clemson, it should go to UNC, but they did end with the hottest streak in, I think, all of college football, and at least in the ACC that I could see. They did average over 36 points per game last year, and they went 5-3 in conference, and it's a tough conference, the ACC. It's not the SEC, but, it's got one of them season there. They're still playing the South. Their star quarterback, Jordan Travis, threw for over 3,000 yards last year, and he did have a 5-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio, which is a phenomenal ratio. I think he had 24 touchdowns to 5 picks. I mean, again, for a college quarterback, that's great. And he also did complete 64% of his passes last year. So, and you got a star quarterback, which is good start. Behind him, he has a star running back in Trey Benson, who rushed for 6.4 yards per carry. He had almost 1,000 yards rushing last year. Benson also finished as the most elusive back in college football, according to PFF. The biggest or glaring deficiency, I will say, that kind of caught me off guard while we're kind of looking at some of the numbers for this. They had no receivers over 1,000 yards last year. I think the lead receiver had 824, and that was Johnny Wilson last year. But they did add a couple good pieces. So they got a transfer from, I believe, Michigan State, Keon Coleman, who had 15 catches of 20-plus yards last year. And Johnny Wilson did come back, and he had almost 21 yards per catch last year, which I think was second or third in all of college football, but led the ACC. So they also bring back Jared Verse on defense, so not just an offensive team. He had 9 sacks last year, 17 tackles for a loss. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think the Seminoles have the capabilities of winning the ACC? Do you think they can make it to the college football playoffs? What do you see for Florida State for this year?
So I think they can make a run for the ACC. I am a gambling man, so I went to FanDuel, look at their odds to win the ACC, and they're listed as the second favorite right now. Good old
Is
gambling.
that an Illinois term, gambling?
I think I heard that from Pat McAfee, so I'm just stealing it now.
It's definitely
Half of my vocab now is from the show, so I'm just a big copycatter. But they do have the second best odds to win the ACC. They're listed at plus 170. Clemson is the favorite, and they're at plus 150. So FanDuel and Vegas thinks that it's going to be pretty head-to-head race between Clemson and Florida State for the ACC, and they're the clear favorites. And then I think it's North Carolina is third at plus 1,100 or something like that. So they are the clear two favorites to win the ACC. But do I think Florida State can make the playoffs? Probably not. I mean, they'll end up losing a game or 2 or 3 throughout the season, and you have a lot of other great programs there that are fighting to be the top 4 teams in the nation for the playoffs. So I don't think they can get to that level yet. And I think
the ACC championship game.
I mean, they would have to go undefeated, win ACC to make the playoffs.
No, but just to get to the ACC championship game, do you think they can get there?
Oh, yeah. I mean, they have the second best odds, you know what I mean? And they seem like they have pretty good quarterback. I haven't watched any film on him yet. I know that you and I are thinking about doing a film breakdown of Jordan Travis in the near future. So I'm intrigued to see just how well he really is. Just to see how good he really is. Your stat about none of the receivers having over 1,000 yards kind of surprised me. I think he threw for 3,200 yards last season.
Yeah.
So they must spread the ball around a lot. So I'm kind of intrigued to learn more.
There wasn't any other statistical guys that kind of stood out to me, receiving yard wise. So maybe there's a lot of throwing it out to the back.
Maybe.
I think Benson had 102 or 150 or 200 yards receiving as well, because I think he had 1,100 scrimmage yards. So.
Yeah, and I'm intrigued to see how well Florida State will do in the next 2, 3, 4 seasons. I didn't look at their class rankings for 2024, but for the class of 2023, they had the 20th best overall recruiting class, and that's third best in the ACC. So
Mm.
they're not really bringing in a lot of high profile freshmen. So to your point about the transfers coming into Florida State, they will need to rely a lot on them for this season, and I'm sure they can come in and develop these freshmen. But again, like their recruiting class isn't that great for this season for this first class. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm intrigued to see if there's like last season was like a fluke, or is this, I don't know, is this a sign for good things to come out of the Florida State program?
Well, not to mention if you're talking about 2, 3, 4 years down the line, we're not sure if the ACC is going to still be a thing. It could get bought out by the Big Ten, Big 12, and the SEC. So they may have to be competing against Bama and Florida here pretty soon. So
Which would be crazy thing about. That would be
yeah,
crazy.
that's a wild thought. But yeah, man, I don't know. I think I believe that Florida State can make it to the ACC championship game this year. I know they're returning a lot of their players, are good players, and with a couple of transfers they have, especially oh my gosh, where's his name? I just had his name down. Keon Coleman. So the transfer from Michigan State, I think he's going to really make that offense explosive, which will open up a lot of the underneath stuff for them, and especially open it up for their star running back Benson, who a lot of people seem to be projecting as he's going to be the best running back in this upcoming draft.
Really?
Uh, yeah, I've seen that a few times now. So people have been giving him more consideration than I think Donovan Wilson, I believe is his last name, from Michigan, and Blake
I
Corum.
think it's Donovan Edwards.
Donovan Edwards, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Donovan Edwards, I apologize. Um, but no, but their biggest threat to making it and winning the ACC championship game is going to definitely be Clemson and UNC. UNC being piloted by Drake May, who's going to be the second best quarterback in this draft. Can he overcome the rest of UNC's deficiencies to get them to the ACC championship game and to win it? For Clemson, I mean, again, they're returning a lot of star talent there. They have one of, if not the best, running back tandem in all of college football. Not to mention they have no more DJ Umangale, who is now, I believe, at Washington State, right? No, Oregon State. He's at Oregon State. And I can't remember the name of the kid they have starting over for them now, but he looked pretty good last year. They had a lot of faith in him because they went away from DJ to him. So he'll now get a full season under his belt and off season as the starter. And they already went 8-0 in the conference last year and 11-3 overall. And I believe they won the ACC championship game last year. I know they have college football playoff aspirations. So we'll see how Florida State can fare. I'm going to give my guess on how the season goes. I imagine they'd probably get to I don't think they'll get to the ACC championship game. They might have another season where they just come up short to Clemson. So
yeah, that's fair.
But overall, a good season to be proud of. I'm sure they'll get to another bowl game, but and football's obviously a finical thing. So, guy injury there, injury here, all of a sudden Clemson's 5-5-7, and Florida State's in the ACC championship game. So
Yeah.